I mean, look at this. Look at this. It's disgusting. Look at this picture. Unbelievable. And look at the artwork of it. This is done in marble, by the way. Easy Tigers. Hope everyone's fine and dandy. We're going to be talking about resets, destruction around the world, and how they hide real history. So in particular, I want to look at the current countries at the moment that are in war and what is in connection with all these places. And I want to look at places that have been reset hard, like Germany, specifically Aachen, just purely because I've been there. That's the only reason. And it was a beautiful city. But when you see these guys turn up, you know stuff's going down. So, let's go. Right, first things first, I'm going to give you a list of the wars since 1945. So these are all the places that have been reset since World War II, basically. So this is after World War II. First column is the date, from and to, and then the name of the war, then the people who won it, and then the last column is the people that got defeated. So look how many there are. I'm not going to make, there is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Like, this place is so big, this realm is so big that you can reset different parts of it at different times and the other areas don't even know about it. And that's what's been going on. But because we have the internet now, they start resetting one part, everyone puts it on the internet and you can see what's going on. But look, it just goes on and on and on and on. And some of these wars are ongoing, and some of these wars I've never even heard of. I'll stop on a couple in a minute, you can have a look. But yeah, I'm just going to go through the techniques they used to wipe out all these countries and cities. And I've come across some interesting photos. You know, people in museums gunning out all the artifacts and stuff like that, you know. But look, I'm still going, this list is still going. This list is unbelievable. I mean, there's one, I'll come across it in a minute, and it'll be like tribes fighting tribes, and you think, yeah, all right, ongoing. Oh, God. Let's have a look. Look, various tribes against various tribes. Ethnic violence in South Sudan till present. Look, this is all going on. Like, I didn't even know about all this stuff. This is in 2012 ongoing. These are all resets. And if you take note, all these places are of extreme history as well. And when I mean extreme history, I don't mean something like Stonehenge. I mean like Syria, you know, Baalbek, Lebanon, like where you've got these ginormous limestone structures. Looks like they're built by giants, basically. But before we get to all that, I want to go to Aachen anyway. This beautiful city of Aachen. And lo and behold, it has the Habsburg, which is the Holy Roman Empire. That obviously got defeated in 1806. That or they went behind the curtains, who knows. But yeah, I just want to point this out. And one thing I noticed about this Star Fort or Star City map, that all the buildings around the water were painted blue rooftops. I wonder if that meant anything. Were they pumping stations? Were they healing centres? Because even when you go into the centre, because in the centre of every star city is a cathedral, and 9 times out of 10 they've got a river or a canal or a stream running directly underneath it. It looks like this one's been filled in. But look, blue, 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 blue. And this map's from the 1600s, by the way. There we go, I've been here. I went to a Christmas market here as well. Very interesting place. Very, very interesting place. And I think that cathedral is where a lot of the Holy Roman empires, like the leaders, got initiated in that cathedral. So let's have a look at the buildings in Aachen before the war. Very old world, almost Gothic style buildings that doesn't fit the new narrative. So what do? You know, you send the army in, don't you? You wipe these places out. You get the people scared, you get them to move out. Now this photo was incredible. Look how old world these columns are. Very strange photo. It almost feels like it's not in Aachen. Like, who are these guys, you know? All just sitting around for a photo. Was it a stage photo? Very interesting stuff. But I mean, look at it. You can only imagine how beautiful that building was. Look at it. And I don't know why there's scaffolding around it. It's like they decommissioned it. But look at the rubbish everywhere. So this, when I say Aachen, this happened pretty much in every major city that has old world buildings in. You name it, and I guarantee you can Google it and there'll be some sort of blitz or something that happened there. Now this was an interesting photo because these three buildings that I'm pointing out, these three got wiped out and taken out, and look what they replaced it with. The little one on the left hand side, they kept that one. Give a bit of character to the city, you know. But look at these rubbish buildings. No character whatsoever compared to these. I just don't think they have the capability to build like that no more. And the other thing is money. It must cost a lot of money to build that sort of stuff like that. So let's have a look. Let's have a real looky wookie. Right, so this is a news article by a Syrian defence minister who had to move thousands of relics because the place was just getting looted. Now, it's just a programme to go around all these places, just like the Great Library of Alexandria. Like, this stuff has just continually happened throughout history. They get rid of places that house history, wipe that out. Right, a joint report by German and Syrian organisations has documented severe damage to Syria's historical heritage and antiquity. Right, the report by the Gerda Henkel Foundation and Paris-based Syrian Society for the Protection of Antiquities monitored 29 museums and places of worship that have suffered various damages due to military, aerial and ground bombardments, including a museum of Marat al-Numan and Palmyra and Raqqa. The report, compiled by Syrian's academic Shilkmos Ali, also called for an investigation into the transfer of 405 boxes of antiquities to Dubai by former Defence Minister Mustafa Tlass when he left Syria in 2011. The boxes, the report said, contained thousands of looted artefacts that had been smuggled from Syria. The report said that Tlass, who died in Paris 2017, had obtained most of these pieces illegally, contradicting his claim that he had obtained official approval issued by the Syrian Minister of Culture, which included allowing them to be shipped to the United Arab Emirates. The report said 29 museums and places of worship have been subject to various damage due to civil war, including the museums of Marat al-Numan, Palmyra and Raqqa, which have been severely damaged. It also dealt with the widespread looting of Syrian archaeological sites, noting that 40,000 artifacts have been stolen from museums, warehouses and places of worship since 2007. So let me just stop there. Like, what are you going to do with these artifacts? You can't really sell them because they're going to be all over the news, you know? So these have just been wiped out of history, so they don't go in the history books and no one questions anything, because none of this stuff here fits any narrative whatsoever. Since the beginning of the Syrian civil war, in March 2011, museums have been subject to vandalism, looting, bombing and destruction. With the deteriorating security in many cities and towns, many museums have been robbed or looted, while others have been bombarded or bombed. According to the report, the long-term damage inflicted on Syria's museums is worse than that of Iraq museums, whose cultural and history riches were severely damaged during the 2003 US invasions and later during the rule of ISIL, and also known as ISIS. The Palmyra Museum, which was founded in 1961, was hit by Russian or Syrian air raids in 2015 and was partially destroyed ISIL fighters subsequently destroyed a number of its contents, including mummies and statues. The museum contained 12,000 artifacts, and despite the number and nature of the looted antiquities not known at present, the report states that 3,450 of the artifacts were looted. Northwest of Palmyra, the report also documented damage to the archaeological museums in Idlib, which included, upon its opening in 1987, important art collections extending to the prehistory and Ottoman period. The museum was subject to several missile attacks in 2015 and 2016, and many of its contents were partially looted or partially destroyed, especially the archive. This museum included 15,000 artifacts, of which 5,844 pieces were looted. So it just goes to show that these were specifically targeted places, and if they wanted to wipe out anything to do with the country, you wouldn't really go for the history. You'd go for the food, the water and the people. You know, that's what you would do. See, now you get the idea. So what I've done is I've just gone through all the wars since World War II, which is all the places that are being reset, and then I've just picked a section of these places and zoomed in on them just to have a look to show you how they are doing it. So what they're doing is they're getting the army, through the army and military, to go into these places. I don't know what they tell them, but they go in there and loot these places, smash them up, and obviously ISIS are paid by the CIA, and they go in there and smash up the artifacts, which is disgusting. I mean, I've got some pictures here with guys with SDS drills. I mean, look at this. Look at this. It's disgusting. Look at this picture. Unbelievable. And look at the artwork of it. This is done in marble, by the way. So you can't really carve marble. But look at this. This must have been geopolymer at some point. How do you do that? But the guy is defacing it. And look how hard it is to deface it, by the way, with an SDS drill. He's using the chisel or the hammer drill bit. So it's extremely tough material. That's why I think it's marble. With his bowling shoes on. Do you know what I mean? Look, a tank coming, parked up in the museum. Like, what's that about? Do you know what I mean? What is that about, hiding in a museum door? So when you see these guys, you know, time's up, mate. Look at these machines. These are just reset machines. These go around causing destruction. So these places were rich in history and rich in architecture. Look, before and after. Look how beautiful that was. Basic but beautiful. And look what they do to it. Before, after. Like, why would you want to do this? Well, obviously I understand why. You want to hide the history because it doesn't match academic. You know, everything started in the 1800s. There was nothing before Jesus, apparently, in the year 2000. That's what they want you to believe. And we've come so far. I mean, they ruined a ruin. Do you know what I mean? Like, what was the point in that? Like, the place was already decimated. It was a ruin. That... Oh, God. Never mind. But you get the idea. Alright? The army going into places is not to save people or anything like that. We're given a backstory through the media, which people believe, but it's just a story to justify why they're there, smashing up history and depopulating the place. Look at this. Now, this don't even look like a human. This looks like some sort of cat out of a computer game. I mean, look at the nose and the eyes. It's like half feline, half human. But, smash. How much are these people paid to smash up the history? And they probably ain't even, like... They're probably American-born and raised. Arabic-looking people. You know, probably groomed for this moment. Anyway, let's have another look at a place that they smashed up that was of importance and extreme... I've never even seen this place before, and I was amazed. And part of me thinks this whole thing was poured, and this is limestone, and I'll show you anyway. And it seems like it was poured in sections. That's what these lines are for. Maybe it was like each line. That or 3D printed. Joke. But you can see, this is like a troglodyte settlement You can see all the cave entrances and windows in this ginormous strata, or this rock. But obviously the army have been here. They've spent a good time here and they've smashed it up. They've even got rid of one of the statues. So look, the Buddhas of the Bimiyan. Right, the Buddhas of Bimiyan were two 6th century monumental statues, Salsa and Shamama, which were carved into the side of a cliff in the Bimiyan Valley of central Afghanistan, 130 kilometers northwest of Kabul, at an elevation of 2,500 meters. Carbon dating of the structural components of the Buddhas has determined that the smaller 38 meter 125 foot Eastern Buddha was built around 570 AD, and the larger 55 meter Western Buddha was built around 1618 AD, which would date both to the time when the Hephalites ruled the region. Right, the statues represented a later evolution of the classic blended style of ancient art in Afghanistan. The statues consisted of the male Salsa, light shines through the universe, and the shorter female Shamama, Queen Mother, as they were called by the locals. The main bodies were hewn directly from the sandstone, which means cut out the sandstone or cut into the sandstone cliffs. But details were moulded in mud mixed with straw, coated with stucco. This coating, practically all of which wore away a long time ago, was painted to enhance the expressions of the faces, hands and folds of the robes. The larger one was painted carmine red and the smaller one was painted multiple colours. See, where did they get the paint from? You know? Where, like, this is a ginormous, imagine painting a massive, like, imagine painting a bridge. Like, the amount of paint, like, you have to go and buy it or knock up or round up to paint something that big. And they're in the middle of a desert, by the way. And another thing is, where did they get the straw and the mud if they're in the middle of a desert and they're surrounded by sand? Anyway, let's carry on. Right, so where was I? The lower parts of the statue's arms were constructed from the same mud straw mix supported on wooden armatures. So that means they basically, like, had wood bits coming out the sandstone and they made moulds and attached it to the wood so it stick onto the cliff face. That's what they're saying. It is believed that the upper parts of the face were made from great wooden masks. The rows of holes that could be seen in photographs held wood pegs that stabilised the outer structure. Yes, so that's basically saying what we just said. It also goes to say that the Buddhas are surrounded by numerous caves and surfaces decorated with paintings, stuff like that. And it was apparently a flourishing civilization around the 6th to the 8th century, according to the narrative. So let's have a look at this place, shall we? I mean, to me, it's very suspect that you get all these lines in straight lines. It's like they built it in layers and then carved out what they needed to carve out. That's what it seems like. I mean, look at it. Look at that. You imagine how many houses are in there. Dwellings. So this is just a layout. And here are some of the Buddhas. So you can see the pegs would have went on the right, just under his left arm. I mean, why would you damage this? I know why, because it's like, because we sit there and ask questions. How could you do this back in the day? They want us to not ask these questions. That's what it is. But if you actually look around the head, it looks like it's laser cut or something. Like, it's so precise. There's no room for error. And another thing is, it's very droopy at the top. So if this was natural strata, why is it lined at the bottom and then like it's melted at the top? It's like someone's come along and dropped some sort of chemical over it and it's like sandstone or limestone and it's just melted like I showed you in the previous video. So again here, this is what they say. I'm like, right, so you remember a minute ago when it said that the actual structure was made out of sandstone and then they did the decoration of the robes in mud and straw. Now this clip here just shows you that it's absolute cobblers, and it's all the same material, right? Look at it. So there's no difference between this part and this part. Now they're trying to hide the fact that they've either got advanced machinery to cut this, or it was once geopolymer. That's what they're trying to hide. So they're trying to say that they cut it out of this, and then for the detail they've done it with hay and mud. But it don't look like hay and mud, it's all the same material. Because even this bit here, you can see where it's mixing in between the robe, where it's like disappearing, where it's been smashed up, into the holes. So to me, it seems like they made that some sort of polymer, and then they've spread that over it, and then sculpted that into what shape they wanted. And that makes more sense, because if it goes wrong, you just get rid of it and do it again. Or maybe you add a solution to it and it makes it soft and you can do it again. But this is all the same material. The robe is not made out of wood, and it's not made out of hay, because you ain't getting that in the desert. Right, so let's have a look. Obviously, the army have been there, they've done their bit, they've destroyed it, they've got rid of the history. But what's interesting in this, it really, to me, like, I'm going to say Malta because I've spent a lot of time there, but it seems so much like the consistency of the material of the megalithic structures in Malta, what we call limestone poured structures. It's exactly the same consistency. Look at it. Exactly the same. It looks like someone's just knocked it up. But I'd love to go here. I'd love to go inside here. You can only imagine it when it was at its peak. It wouldn't have looked like a ruin. It'd have been decorated. It'd have looked like, I don't know, amazing. But look, this is what it was before and after. Before and after. Just look at this. Look at how they destroyed that. Look at that. Just think there must have been gangs of guys up there with drills gunning that out at the same time. I mean, and what do you tell the public? What do you tell them? Well, like, oh yeah, we're doing an operation. Do you know what I mean? What do you tell them? You're destroying their history. I digress. But look, it just seems like it was a solution at one point. The mixture was a solution at one point, and it's very droopy at the top. Like I said, like they've poured something on the top, or they sprayed something on it to make it go like that. They've tried to melt it, but it was just so big. Look at it. But it looks almost laser cut on the interior around this guy's head, around this Buddha's head. Look at that. Look at that. And you know this is full of caves inside. Look at the precision. But then when I look at it, I just see it's been poured in sections, and then they've chopped out this guy, this Buddha. That's how I see it. But anyway, that was the colossal idols of the Bamiyan Valley. I mean, you haven't seen that before, but let's have a Brucey bonus anyway. Let's have a little Brucey. Right, so this clock here is an astrological clock in Prague. And it is incredible, mate, because it was built or first installed in 1410, and it's the third oldest astronomical clock in the world, and the oldest clock in the world still in operation. Right, it goes to say that the clock is mounted on the southern wall of the old town, in the old town square. The clock mechanism has three main components: the astronomical dial, representing the position of the sun and the moon in the sky and displaying various astronomical details. Statues of various Catholic saints stand on either side of the clock. The walk of the apostles, an hourly, shows of moving apostles, figures and other sculptures, notably a figure of a skeleton that represents death striking the time, Old Father Kronos, and the calendar dial with medallions representing the months. According to local legends, the city will suffer if the clock is neglected and its good operation is placed in jeopardy. So let's have a look at this, shall we? Should we have a little examination? So in 1410, they built this. which is incredible really, because they must have known the cycles of the skies to build this, obviously. But it's in very good detail, very good detail. So it's got the sun, the moon, the calendar month, days. Yeah, it's incredible. It even tells you where the sun and the moon will be positioned. But look at this. Look at the little faces around it as well. Time don't stop for no one. Time catches up with everyone. So this is just showing you what's what, the daytime, the zodiac, the hours, the present, you know, the ancient daylight. Pause and have a look at that. I found that really fascinating. But what I find fascinating is that they've given this to the public to use in 1410. Like, we weren't given this nowadays. But look at this. Look at how advanced this is. A clock that will tell you exactly where everything is astronomically. What date, time, where the sun and the moon will be. What a piece of art, eh? But it reminds me of that, the thing they found in the sea. I'll get to it in a minute. But look at the marks around this. Is that machinery marks? Because nothing, if you carve that, it's just going to chip it. No, it's probably some sort of geopolymer limestone or liquid limestone or something like that, and it's been set. Maybe they're the lines of the mould that it's set in, who knows. But it's just a piece of art, isn't it? So this is what it reminded me of. This is an artifact they found. Right, the Antikythera mechanism is an ancient Greek hand-powered orrery, described as the oldest example of an analog computer, used to predict astronomical positions and eclipses decades in advance. So this is just like a handheld version of the big clock on the wall. It could also be used to track the 4-year cycle of athletic games, which was similar to the Olympics. The cycle of the ancient Olympic Games. This artifact was among wreckage retrieved from a shipwreck on the coastal island of the Greek Antikythera. So that's why it's called the Antikythera mechanism. Okay, I'll get that now. I didn't know that. So some smart ass done a look like, and this is what it is here. Don't know why it'd be wound up though. Why would it be wound up? Is it the dynamo in it? Anyway, let's go to another thing. Right, the Pyramid of Sestwis is a Roman era pyramid in Rome, Italy. And they say it's a tomb for some guy, but we know they ain't tombs. They're doing something to do with harnessing energy from the earth. It stands at a fault between two ancient roads. And not only that, there's two of these, but one of them got wiped out. It also says that it is of a brick-faced concrete covered with slabs of white marble. But I believe it's been rebuilt. I'll show you the pictures. You make your mind up for yourself and let me know what you think. But another thing is, I'll just point this out now, that it is apparently the sharp pointed shape of the pyramids is strongly reminiscent of the pyramids in Nubia, which have been attacked by Rome in 23 BC. So check the dates out here, right? Now this is the other pyramid in Rome, which is Meta Romula, also named Pyramid Vatican. So this was just outside the Vatican, and by the 16th century it was completely destroyed. Let's have a look at it. Look at the size of it. It's massive. This is another picture of it. But it's growing grass here. So how old is it here? This thing is growing grass here. You've got the old Greco-Romano columns. It looks like there's been a reset because there's loads of rubbish in the ground, as in like debris and stuff like that. So this is clearly a reset or something that's gone on there. But look, it's growing grass, and then they get rid of it. And another thing I'd like to point out, look at the block work on the right hand side. But this is it now. This is what it looks like now. take note of this little castle, and also note that this is different blocks. I'm telling you now, these are different blocks to what's in the pyramid of the old picture. I'll show you in a sec. Because if you look at the old picture, around here it looks damaged, like it's been shot at by guns or something. I'll show you. Look. Boom. Yeah? Can you see that? It looks heavily damaged, like it's been shot at. And the capstone's completely different material as well. But if you notice on the turrets or these on the corners of this castle, there's no slits in the windows, you know, like where they could just poke a little gun out and shoot. So it tells me that these original structures weren't for military use, or they weren't for protection. Because you've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 windows on that whole thing. But if you look at the other picture, there's about 20 windows where they can poke guns out. Right, so these are the pyramids that are identical to the ones in Rome. And the ones in Rome that apparently got mashed up in 23 BC. So are these a pile of rubble since 23 BC? They've got melted sandstone or limestone. Something's happened to them. But look, there was actually 200 and something pyramids in this area. And this is south of Egypt. You've got a little sphinx there. You've also got a little Easter Island body poking up there in between the pyramids. There's all sorts of stuff going on here. That's why this place got mashed up, just like everywhere else. But these pyramids are identical. Identical.